Have you ever wondered how your favorite artists make music? What are the inside tools that they're using? Well, in this video, we're going to break down the ultimate #1 favorite plugins of all time by Ren, this great artist I was introduced to last year. And this is a list of his favorite plugins. And now, do you need plugins? No. What does that even mean? You can make music for free. You can just use instruments, whatever. But the list that he gave for his favorite plugins of all time was a lot of them I'd already used, and I really recommend them. So let's check it out. And by of all time, as you can see here from this post, he goes, fellow music producer gremlins, my recommended plugins of the week, which will probably only be this week because of ADHD. And then I got the list, and we're going to go through one by one. So that, so maybe not of all time because you kind of change all the time, but these plugins are great. I definitely, even if you're not a music producer yourself, I think you're gonna be intrigued by some of the sounds that can be made from this. Some of them are subtle, some of them are more punch you in the face, but I can definitely see how Ren uses these and makes some really cool music with them. So #1 on the list is gonna be last. So let's go with #5 on the list. Drum roll, please. Sublab XL. Sublab XL. Pull up the Ableton. Whoosh. That's not it. Pull up the Ableton. Whoosh. There we go. This is the recording software that I use, Ableton Live. And so within this, we can pull up these different tools that are called third-party plugins. This first one called Sublab XL. Now, I do have Sublab, so I imagine Sublab XL is just a similar version of that going on. So let's check out Sublab. And here's an example, Sub. Awesome. So many patches in here as well. And Sublab. Oh, again, just a little disclaimer. None of these, this is not sponsored at all. I'm just talking completely honestly. And a lot of these I've just, spoiler alert, I have 4 out of the 5 on his list. And amazing. But yeah, not sponsored. I'm just going to tell you how I really feel. So we're hopping back into it. And you can get a lot of these Sublab. I got this on Plugin Boutique. You can get great deals on Plugin Boutique. But they also had all these cool, like, different packs you can get along with it. So like here's one from Decap, who's a great producer and like music tool maker. Amazing. And all kinds of different subs. And I think that's pretty fun. You got different artists in here like Richie Soothe, Sublaflame. We'll see how that one is. You know, and then we got triangular sub, right? All these different ones here. So that's really fun. You can have a blast with these, get some cool dark sounds, and then you've got your different controls here. I don't want to make this video too long and too nerdy, but fun stuff to be diving into there. Let's get to #4. What's #4? 808 roll, please. RC20. RC20. Nice. Yeah, this one's really cool. A classic, some music producers may say. So within this one, first let's hear a little bit about this little track I quickly hobbled together that has just small amount of elements. What do we got? All right, and that's just like guitar, bass, drums. And then if I added RC20 to it, and a lot of different ways you can go about it. I'm just going to talk about it at first from this example, transmitting from space, because hello, look at the background we got here. But if I turn this magnitude up, you'll see it's got this like degrading quality. It takes all this noise into it. We can almost use it as like a little transition point. So I'll have the magnitude up at first, and then we'll kind of fade into the song. So you'll see what that does with this RC20 here. Crank it. I mean, go back to space, back to low quality space. That's just one of the presets right there, you know? We can hop to right, snarify. So there's not all meant to be like on the master, but for example, here's like this when it starts up, it loads up on this patch, just kind of adds some vinyl noise to it. It gives it like this realism, this like old schooly type sound. I'm gonna talk plainly here. Don't want to get too into the weeds here. Right, you hear that? We go crazy with the wobble. Very fun. That's a small taste of what a RC20 can do there. So that's a really cool one. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3. Again, I could talk at length about each of these plugins for hours, but we'll keep it tight. We'll relax. All right, so number 3. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 3. Valhalla Vintage Reverb. Now listen. Yeah, this is my most used one on his whole list. Valhalla Vintage Reverb is so good. And I love that. I love that it gives you the like super long delay time. So, you know, Reverb gives you delay in space. It gives you that little echo situation. Hello? 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 This actually is vintage Verb. So just a slight nitty gritty situation right here. Oh, let's get this RC20 out of here. Goodbye, RC20. And I'm gonna show you where I actually have this reverb. It's actually on my main track. So if I go to View, Return Tracks, Valhalla Vintage Reverb, wrench icon, let's show the people. Show the people what we got here. Vintage Verb. So whenever I open up a project, the way I've set up my Ableton Live project is that I will have Valhalla Vintage Verb on return track A, which is this one right here. So yeah, whenever I play an instrument, for example, I can just add that. I can send it to the return track A, which has this vintage verb on it. And the one I default to, it's kind of long, but not super long. It's just 2.8 seconds, right? So if I add this to it, check out this difference. Because right here, it's super dry, no reverb. I'm just gonna right in the space with you. Add some reverb, get a little further away, a little bit in a space, bigger room. But then let's go ahead and add even more reverb. Whoa. And I love the sound that Valhalla Vintage Verb has. Yeah, and that's just one little setting here. And you can get just buck wild with the decay. I mean, oh my goodness. This is absurd. Like just to give context, the maximum reverb amount, like how long it takes to let that sound go to nothing, it on one of my regular keyboards that I'll play at that gigs is like 1.5 seconds, 1.8 seconds. And look how far down the rabbit hole this sucker goes, right? So here, this is 1.2 seconds, 3 seconds, which is approximately what I have on my preset. But then we can go super long with this decay. How cool is that? And now that's almost like a freeze pedal. It's almost like a freeze pedal where you take it off. And then you can like crank it up. So like you can have it decay till almost like next week, right? Oh my gosh. It's just keep going. Decay time, 70 seconds. Over a minute. How cool is that? We haven't even touched the damping. We haven't even touched the shape. Pretty like man. I didn't even tell you that we could change the decade. What are we even talking about here? 70 seconds. My goodness. And yeah, now that reverb is just applied to here because because I changed this going to the send, this Valhalla vintage Verb, number 3 on Ren's favorite plugins of all week, maybe. This, I could add my voice too. So let's take this voice and add it to there. Where's my talking voice? Here's like a larger room, like a big hall, big cathedral maybe. Bring it on down, bring it on down. Yeah, and then I could talk about this at length, but we'll get out of here. Let's go back. 2 plugins remain. All right, let's see what number 2 is. Number 2 is Shaperbox. Shaperbox. This is the one plugin on this list that I don't have, but it looks phenomenal. It looks phenomenal. In an ideal world, I would just buy it and tell you about it. But, you know, I don't know. I don't have it. But it's really cool. It like chops up vocals, adds in really cool effects. And maybe I'll talk about that if I purchase it, which let me know if you'd like me to do. I'm going to show you about Shaperbox. It's a fun one from what I've heard, but do not have it currently. Perhaps we'll talk about it in the future. Now, final one. Number 1 is Soothe. Soothe. Soothe is a very cool one and a very subtle one. And I'm also glad it's last because full transparency of all these plugins, this one adds like the biggest amount of delay to it. So if you've been keeping track of my lips, what you doing? No, just keeping track of my lips, you'll see once I add it on, the delay is more significant. I wonder how it'll work with video and audio, but anyway, it's hard because already right now there's a little bit of delay from my ear to face. Like some people, when they come over and record music, record podcasts and stuff, they can't handle this delay I'm currently hearing. And now when I put on Soothe, it's gonna get worse. But anyway, that's just a small effect. I'm just gonna deal with it. I'm just gonna keep recording, even if my voice is delayed using it. But really great for mixing, kind of takes out the harsh frequencies. It's almost like a super advanced compressor, like controlling all the different frequency bands that are making your thing harsh. Let's get some audio examples. Hey, get some audio examples. Number 1 plugin recommendation of the week from Mr. Ren. Let's add it to this wall guitar over here. See what's what. Yeah, so once I add it in, I got this delay of like a few hundred more milliseconds. Almost feels like maybe 300, 500 millisecond delay. All right, let's see. Again, this one's going to be subtle. What's cool is you can hear kind of confusing interface at first, right? Because what is going up as opposed to a typical EQ, it's actually what's being reduced. So when you boost something, you're actually telling Soothe what frequency to get rid of, which is interesting. Which kind of is like almost like taking an extra step away from like if you get used to finding harsh frequencies like this and then taking them down. Like when you find them like this, it's just what's taking them down. And if you wanted to see what it's hunting, you can hold Alt, and you're gonna hear the frequencies it's taking away. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff we could do it. A lot of different like presets that go into it. And there's this one preset I'm really excited to try out. So here we go. Without Soothe. Number of issues already, right? It's kind of like peaking. You kind of hear this harshness. Let's see if Soothe solves all our problems. All right, here we go. Yeah, already much clearer, much clearer. You can hear it's less, again, so without. Whoa. With. So we'll try this out on the drums, actually. First, we'll just hear these drums without it. And now with it. All right. So far, not quite the exact example I want. So for Soothe 2, might need some music production lessons from Mr. Wren. But, I haven't used Soothe 2 as much, but it's his number one. So it makes me want to use it. It's his number one. It's his number one is Soothe. So that's cool. So thanks for the tip, Wren. Check that out from his Instagram thread. Thanks. Some of the Renegades sent me it over. I appreciate you sending that over. Now, that's cool. I'm going to kind of dive more into Soothe 2, see how I can like apply that to smooth out some mixes and everything. Do some nice, that's like the subtle stuff, right? It gives you, you keep incrementally improving, kind of tie in those little things. So yeah, maybe not one exact of these plugins is going to like, I downloaded these plugins and now I'm rocket to the moon. It's like still little improvements, but it's like you want to keep track of when you find these little speed bumps in your production, when you find these little, oh, I need a great sub. Grab that Sublab. Oh, I need, what's like a nice reverb I can get? Valhalla Vintage Verb, which by the way, I'll leave you with this nice pro tip. Valhalla Vintage Verb, it's great. It's paid. If you want a free one, they have Valhalla Supermassive, which is a great free plugin last I checked. So that also gives you a great reverb for $0, which is excellent. But hope you enjoyed this nice dive into Wren's favorite plugins that he listed on Instagram that one time, Instagram threads, I believe. And I am excited to kind of dive more into these myself. And like Shaper is one that I hopefully will muster up the money to purchase, because I've seen some really cool applications of that. And then Soothe, which is number one. So I really got to dial that in, maybe use it more on some vocals and stuff and mix it into the later process in the chain, which, because it has that delay, I'm excited to delete this because it gives me this crazy delay. Delete. Okay, now we're back. So if you made it this far, first off, kudos. And let me know if you heard a difference from when it was on versus when it was off. So you heard a second ago when I clapped. Can you hear the difference? Voice on time, voice not in time. Because yeah, maybe it's no difference for you watching the video, but for me, I was like speaking to my past self just before. So I'm surprised I made it that far. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more music deep dives, and let me know if there's any music production or music performance things you'd like me to dive into, because I've been enjoying some of your requests thus far. So I'll catch you around. Happy New Year. Peace.